Good afternoon, everybody out there. This is JD, the designer of the device you see here in front of you, which I call the Light Painters palette. It's essentially just a shield for an Arduino Pro Mini. It's got the 3-position switch and 2 knobs, and then it has a red, a green, a blue, and a white LED, a power connector, and an IR receiver. So, wanted to put together a video that described how to get this little board running, basically just how to connect the power and my pro tip there, and then how the different modes of the software work, or how this thing all goes together. So what you're going to need is a 9-volt battery. I suggest wrapping it with tape, that way when you strap it to the bottom of the PCB here you don't accidentally create any shorts along any of the leads. And then I usually connect it all together with just simply a rubber band. So here we go. Want to make sure to put the right face down so that your connections all match up. And then I usually just strap it right between the LEDs and the Arduino. So kind of right in this little gap seems to hold it pretty tight. But if you find somewhere better, by all means, do what you gotta do. And then that's all there is to it. So go ahead and jump into the different modes of operation. They're all controlled by these 3 switches here on the side in red here. The main one being when all the switches are off or in their, closer to the receiver position or in their down position. This is the color select mode. In this mode, the left knob controls the different colors that it's outputting. So it goes from, all the way clockwise would be red to red and green to just green to green and blue to just blue, blue and red, and then all of the colors combined, and then to off if you're just turning it off. So that's kind of your main mode, your starting point. You kind of figure out what you're trying to take a picture of or what you're trying to light up, and you pick the appropriate color, and then you switch up the little switches. So when you flip the 1 to on, it's going to fade between red and blue, and it's going to go red to blue to red to blue, and the speed at which it fades is going to be controlled by this other knob. So you can go slower from red to blue. The more clockwise you go, the slower it goes, or counterclockwise you go, the faster it'll go. And that is the first mode. The second mode is when you just flip the 2 up. In this one it goes from like red to black to blue to black to red to black. So to black to blue to black to red to black. You could create kind of like a dotted line or get a little more defined colors, a little more defined red and blue. That's how you do that. The next mode, when you have the 3 up, fades both of the LEDs on and off. So from red and blue to black to red and blue, and this one's a little slower. Let's see here. Red and blue to black to red and blue to black. When you mix red and blue, you get a kind of a purple color. So if you're out there light painting with this, it's not going to look like red and blue. It'll actually more than likely look like a purple color. It might have some highlights on the edges of some red and some blue, just because the 2 LEDs are a little bit separated. They're not coming out of the exact same point source, but in general, if you were pointing this at an object and having it reflect back onto your camera, it would look more like a purple color. Then if you have 2 and 3 up, it's going to do that red and blue, but instead of fading to black in between, it's going to jump over to white. So this one kind of jumps between red and blue to white, to red and blue to white. And that's with your 2 and 3 up. And then the last mode of operation that I've got it programmed in for is with the 1 and 2 in the on position. And this one is actually the remote control receiver function. So you can go red, green, blue, yellow, bluish, greenish, teal sort of color, and then purple. And then you got dimming and brighting functions, off and on. On just turns all 4 of the LEDs on. White just turns the white one on. Got flash. In the code there, if you're someone who's a coding background, you can adjust all the different codes from the remote control receiver. It's pretty straightforward, but that way you can have the flash respond to maybe your Comcast remote or the shutter release remote from your camera, or yeah, any infrared remote that works on 38 kilohertz and on the NEC protocol should work just fine to be able to communicate with this guy. Just a little bit of adjustment of a couple of features in the code there. You've got a strobe function that when you do these strobe and fading and smooth functions, you actually have to hit off to get them to turn off, since they're kind of a continuous function. Fade does a red, green, blue really fast. And then smooth is just red to green to blue, fading extra slow. That about does it. Thanks for checking out my video and hopefully purchasing my product. I hope you enjoy. Now get out there, take some photos, and have some fun.